It's all about Counter-Strike, episode 22. Banks and Devilwalk back again. I am in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, for the Esports World Cup. It is right now 11:33 p.m. That means for Devilwalk in Sweden, it is 10:33 p.m. It's not too late for us. I am tired though. I left Ukraine nearly 24 hours ago. I did sleep on a plane, so it's not terrible. Like I have been sleeping, but it's not the same quality kind of sleep. I'm sipping on an energy drink thing here, like a watery mixed energy
I have a
drink thing.
beer.
You you have a bit lucky you. I'm still not drinking after holiday. I'm not drinking after holiday at all. I had way too much alcohol on
You're in the
holiday.
wrong place in the world though to drink.
It's perfect. It's actually genius. This keeps me on the steady. I didn't drink on the flight, on the airplane, nothing. I'm staying good and being healthier as much as possible with that. I also buzzed off all my hair because I got bored of having to do anything with my hair, so I just zapped it off. So rocking the new look at the same time. But talk me through
So
Star Series a
when I
bit. We're not
do
going
that,
to go into.
wait,
Oh, go on, go on.
before that, okay? So every time I cut my hair really short, when I go
Yeah,
into the shower, like the biggest thing for me is like, oh, I don't have to use as
2
much
minutes.
shampoo anymore. And I'll put like one dot. Everything is
And it's
shampooed.
done.
I'm done.
Yep.
A bottle lasts forever.
No styling stuff as well. I'm so like I hate having to do all that stuff. So this is perfect now. It's just you step out, you're done. I just comb my beard a bit because it's still a little bit long, and I'm good. Everything's nice.
Yeah.
Everything's really good.
All right, now we
I
can
want to ask
actually
you a
get
little
into
bit
it.
about the Star Series, though, right? Because
Yep.
Star Ladder obviously has the next major. It's going to be happening in Budapest. They've also got an event that's taking place in Budapest, which seems like a warm up event for them to get ready because they haven't done a big tier one Counter Strike event in a long time. You did the qualifiers for it. So there are some
Yeah.
pretty good teams in here considering it's qualifiers. Spirit Academy, Bet Boom, Ents. I don't know, I'm going to define Fnatic and Big as good teams right now, but they're known teams. TNL and
Yep.
Passion UA. Obviously, we know what happened to Passion UA. The roster's breaking up. By the way,
They
that's something that's
disbanded mid
crazy.
tournament.
But would you know what's crazy? There was a video of Zinchenko, obviously mega famous footballer behind the organization, telling him about like he still believes him and stuff not too long ago. And then this happens. So probably not his fault, by the way. It's probably like the people who are managing the project for him. But that didn't work out too well. Like that's not a positive.
I mean,
I would like to
Voro
see
put
them.
out a statement on it even.
Oh, what did he
Um,
say? I didn't see
I have it here on the actual Discord when we were. So here.
when you were live.
Okay. Voro 2K. Hey everyone, I've received a bunch of messages asking what happened, so I'll write a short
Yeah.
post. Zero synergy. Zero results. Almost zero enjoyment from the game for most of us. Everyone has
Wow.
different visions of the game and their own formula for winning. This kind of result doesn't work for anyone, neither for us as players nor for the organization. We tried our best to
Mm-hmm.
change things and make them better, but it just didn't quite work out for us. I think this is the right decision for both the organization and the players, so just wish everyone good luck. I'm grateful to all the guys for this time together, love them all, and wish them to achieve all of their dreams and goals. Thanks also to the organization for this period and to their entire staff. For me, a new chapter begins. I'm currently looking for a new team and really curious to see what's ahead.
Now, I know a lot of people hate Warrow, right? They're like super against him. The whole thing he had was simple, just maybe some of his attitude that you can have at times. But I will say this is like, that's a very honest and good approach to how he's said about this falling out. The fact that they know they couldn't make it work. Crazy though, considering
Yeah.
like there was some talent on there. Kavem, I think he's awesome. I think he's a really solid player, like so consistent.
Yeah.
And Jacasmo, I would keep them two and work like build a team around them. Also, that's the team that
So,
made so much money selling players to Fnatic, by the way.
yeah.
They made
I
mega money. They
think
got money.
I'm pretty sure it's Jacasmo, Quem, and Demq who is on the bench while the rest are released.
Okay, so
I
Topper and
might
Warrow
be
got
wrong on
released and
that, but
TC.
yeah. But it seemed like that was the case, and obviously there's been other rumors in combination with
But
that
who was
Passions
leading at the time?
project.
Was it Warrow the in-game leader or Topper?
I assume it was Toppa or
Yeah, I
Voro
thought it.
actually.
Oh, really? Okay, because sometimes Warrow was like, I don't want to IGL up, and then Topper was doing some. My thing is, I feel like the only thing I noticed with that team is that Jacasmo, for example, never looked as comfortable as he was when he was under Fear's leadership. You know, he doesn't need to be the flashy player, but he was always good. He was always solid.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do. I'll say if they rebuild around Kvem and Chikasmo at least, I'll be happy. That's fine. They can go from there. But looking at who qualified, right? The teams that qualified through Star Series to the main event in Star Ladder Star Series Fall 2025, Paravision, Iberian Soul, Nine, and OG.
Yeah.
Would they be all the ones that you would have considered at the beginning of the tournament? Give me your because I didn't watch any of it, so give me your thoughts on just like what happened, what went down, what was interesting.
No, I think to some degree, I think, you obviously, if you look at, okay, Paravision, Iberian Soul, 9, OG, I think the biggest surprise for me was 9.
Hmm.
I think they played a great game. They obviously recently they brought in Fusi. I was really impressed by Cjot, the Polish player. He seemed
Okay,
like a beast, to be honest. He was like relentless in the way that he would be aggressive, take entries. And when they started the tournament, I think they were around rank 70, but have obviously climbed up to a rank 39 and 42 on
good
BRS and
progression.
HLTV since the event
That's
ended.
huge.
So they made a
And
huge
Star Series will
jump.
be a LAN. Star Series will be a LAN for them. They've
Yes.
qualified for. That's actually going to help.
Yes.
But I can't remember when the cutoff date is, but they might be there. They're probably screwed still for the major, right?
No, I think it actually is just about when the major invites, like the major invites will be before. So I don't think there's a cutoff from this point because obviously you
No,
have
but I mean, a
September.
cutoff for like Star Series won't benefit them, right?
No, I think it will because it's
So
in November
October
and the
6th,
invites
Star
should.
Ladder no, October 6th, Star Ladder CS Budapest Major invites.
What do you mean? Tell me.
The invites for the Budapest Major is on the 6th of October. So they only have till then to get enough
Oh,
points to be invited. Yeah, that's what I was seeing.
but it's in September, right? The Budapest event.
Yeah, no, oh, is it September? I thought it was November. If it's not, okay, that's fine then.
Yes, this is one of the most important events that you can go
Oh
to as
wow, yeah,
a
yeah.
tier two
Actually, yeah,
team.
September. You're right. I see. I don't even know if I'm working that
Um,
myself yet. So that's okay. That's huge. That's
yeah,
huge. Them
so
guys could
it's
like clinch through somehow.
yeah, like any one of these teams, they can actually, it's obviously a 500,000 prize pool. It has a huge
Yep.
weight, and
LAN.
winning one of these events is obviously a lot better than becoming like fifth or sixth, even in some tier one events, because of how
Yeah.
BRS is kind of weighted with the prize pool and everything. So I think one of
Huge
these teams could
opportunity.
actually potentially just kind of walk their way into a major spot from this tournament. So I think it's a massive tournament to qualify for.
That's actually brilliant. That's brilliant for him. Who would you
Yeah.
say was the biggest surprise out of those teams that qualified? Would you say Nine or Iberian Soul?
I think Nine and Iberian Soul in combination. I like Iberian Soul. If you look at the game, like last game versus Fnatic, Fnatic probably should have won Overpass. I think Iberian Soul won like 4 clutches on CT, and Fnatic just broke them too late. And when they broke them, they lost to an eco.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they play their cards a little bit better, Fnatic, they definitely had that series and should have qualified.
Oof.
Um, I think Big will also kind of like I don't
Oh
know, I
man, it's
don't
so
know how to
rough for
say it,
Big
but
right now. It's so rough for Big
they
right
played
now.
well though. They played well, and they played against a really good Nine, but really Big should have qualified as well. They lost 2 series against Nine in this tournament, and both of them through their own
Ooh.
mistakes. Not because
Ooh.
like Nine was way better. It was like I think they were up 12-10 on Inferno. Hype was in a
Yep.
one-on-one clutch with a bomb planted for him on B site, and he took a kind of an all-in duel from Coils where he could have just played time and jiggled with the AWP for the defuse or let him chase
Yeah.
him, and he would have won it. It was like 10 seconds left on the bomb,
But Hyped
and I
is
think
so
he could
aggressive,
have,
man.
yeah, yeah,
He's such an aggressive
he could have
player.
easily won that clutch if he had a little bit more, ice in his veins. But yeah, so
Mistakes were made.
I still think Big looked better. OG, obviously, they're just on another level compared to any other team in this qualifier.
Was
Um,
it easy
I
for them
think
relatively?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I would say almost super easy.
That's a good sign
I
that they're
don't
still
think
making positive progress.
I don't think they dropped the map. No, and they obviously played the old Navi junior squad foot and
What do
kind
you
of
make of
play
them
in or
considering they've lost Makazi? How do you feel about this Foot ex Navi Junior team? Still potential?
there's still potential, but I think you can see that they've taken a step back, but it's not, I don't think, as big as maybe some people would say. I think they're going to need some time to kind of integrate Misuta. I think Misuta also, there's two ways to look at it. Makase, I think, is a better player right now.
Hmm.
But I also think Misuta is kind of, he's still relatively young. I think he's 23
Damn,
or
when we've been
something
talking
like
about
that.
forever.
Yeah. Like he's
He's a
still
player I
relatively
wouldn't. If
young.
you told me he's 23, I would have put him like in the 25, 26 category. Not because of what you look like, Masuda. I'm sorry. I just mean because of how long we spoke about you because you've been playing at the top for a long time, you know? Oh, I did the
Yeah.
close up thing. I
The
just zoomed in on
camera,
it.
yeah, I
Bro,
saw that. Either way, no, but and I think what's interesting about Misuta in this lineup is that he
yeah.
obviously, when he was 16, 17, 18, he was playing, top tier Counter Strike with vitality. I think he can have a lot of like experience and thoughts of what he did wrong when he was at that age to kind of
Hmm.
guide these young players in some sense. So I think there's an interesting bit to that as well, where he kind of brings a lot of experience, even though he's quite young, and he can have a lot of reference points to the young players to give advice. Oh, what
Yeah,
the
that's
hell is
very good.
happening?
Oh my God, I've completely flipped down now. What have I done?
What am I looking at?
I'm
Okay,
trying to turn on this
still
hand.
there's some
I'm
tech issues here in the podcast.
I'm just trying to learn my camera, man. I'm just trying to learn the new camera. I thought it'd be fun to just do this whole like, look at my view, look where I am. And then just spin around, and it follows me everywhere. Then you can do a bit of this, and it's like, but now it's not doing it. No, it is doing it. There we go. We got to zoom into my head, which no one wants to see, so we'll get out of that mode. I gotta just be careful of my hand signals the whole way
This is a
through.
little bit. It's so trolly to me.
It's definitely more streamer mode, but it's definitely better quality. So we'll get through this, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so it sounds like Star Series is pretty good, and the benefits it's going to have for the teams that qualify can be pretty huge. We'll
Yeah.
keep a track on how that's going to work out. Let's start looking at Blast Bounty, and let's start because remember when we did the last episode, we didn't do an episode between groups and
I'll mention
playoffs or the
one more
LAN
thing though.
finals. Oh, okay.
One more thing. NIP, they made it through the qualifier with only losses.
Really?
So they lost their first game against Nine, and then someone from the
But we were
actual
just.
main event, we don't know the invites yet,
Mhm.
declined their invite. So NIP got a direct slot from being in a losing position.
Because of their
They were
current rank,
supposed,
right?
yeah. So they were
Yeah, so
supposed to
that's
play an elimination match against Big.
that's
Or
hilarious.
actually, first an elimination match versus Passions, but Passions
What is it?
disbanded. So they got stepped
What
up one more time.
what what games did Nip play in that qualifier?
Only
They
one
play any?
game against
One
Nine.
game. And they
Then they got a
lost.
walkover from Passions. Yes, they lost to
Yeah.
Nine. And then they were supposed to play big, but got the invite the same morning.
That's funny how that changes. Lucky Nip, they're taking the win from the side, but it is just the way the VRS goes. But woo,
Yeah.
they are better at LAN. That's a fact. With the players they have, they're better at
Yes.
LAN. So this is all in all something that will benefit them. All right, let's move to Blast Bounty because we can't be here for 6 hours again doing all of this stuff. So let's have a look
True.
at this, mate. The teams that made it to LAN finals ended up being Vitality, Aurora, Mouse, Mongols, Liquid, and Spirit, alongside Virtus Pro and Astralis. You predicted Vitality, Mouse, Mongols, Spirit, Furia, Navi, Aurora, G2. G2 Navi and Furia not making it. So you failed on
Yep.
three. I picked Vitality, Spirit, Mouse, Mongols, Aurora, Navi, Furia, Pain. Navi, Furia, Pain didn't make it. The biggest disappointments there are probably Furia and Navi for both of us. Because you had G2, I had Pain. I just had a little feeling on Pain every now and again. But I'll just say for Navi, it's the way they lost that made me so sad, man. Oh, and you can say, yes, it's online, whatever else, but both teams are in the same situation. And it's like Navi start off, they win Dust 2, right? They go into Inferno. This for me is like a map where I'm still, by the way, the same problems you pointed out from Makazi, he's doing the same thing. He just keeps eating grenades on banana. Like, he's got to learn to change this because we're saying how good he can be and what he's able to show, but it's a liability. I didn't even look at, let me look at his rating for what happened on Inferno.
I think
But like
it's especially on Inferno where
T
he
side
has not really.
0.32,
Yeah.
CT side 0.79. It's not great, but obviously they were losing anyway. But it's like that T side, even when you can call a great game, if your banana player's just going out and tanking damage from every bit of utility, and also it may be a newer version of Astralis, but this is still an Astralis that knows its util. They know what they're doing. They know how to handle their business on banana. He's like, this isn't tier two anymore. Someone must be talking to him and saying, I will give them one. Okay, this isn't an excuse, but obviously, Blade fell off the scooter during Cologne and broke his arm. He was having surgery, so he wasn't there for that game. I know. Mate, it's so
It's
funny.
I don't want to laugh, but it
No, no.
sounds so
Do you
funny.
know why it's funny? Because like Blade definitely knows better. I'm sure Blade even tells his players, like, don't go on a scooter during the tournaments or something, right? He would be to me, I've not asked him, but to me, Blade would be the person who would say to his players, like, don't risk doing that, in case something happens, you need to use your arms. And then he's the one that ends up wrecking himself on a scooter. That's unlucky.
Yeah. Um
Mega.
Obviously not ideal, and he had to have surgery for it.
Yeah. Yep. Because I think it was his collarbone, if I'm correct, if I remember the news correctly. I didn't message him or anything about it, but it happened in Cologne. Obviously, you saw Mr. Pirate One Arm. I think that, by the way, he looked like such a badass on stage with that on his arm, and just the way Blade looks. It was like that on its own made it all worthwhile. But obviously, he had to go for some surgery or doctor's appointment, whatever it was, to have it
Yeah.
fixed. And you can't leave them things too long. So it was during the online part, I guess, to be ready for land finals, and they just so happened to lose to um Astralis. But it's no shame losing to Astralis. I thought you had Astralis going through. You might have said about maybe them having a chance to make it. But if we then go from here to look at the overall land finals, obviously the Blast Bounty format, it's fun and it's exciting, but no one's having fun with it to make it exciting, like the way it could be, with like the all-in factors. There was a chance where Vitality could have gone all in on Liquid, and then Twist, I think, offered him like 150 euros or something of his all-in. And by the way, the where it depends where you want to start with this, because I know you didn't see too many of the games, but like I was worried from the game in the quarters where Vitality played Liquid, and both games went to overtime, and both games legitimately Vitality could have lost. I don't mean just because lost because they got onto overtime. Like Liquid were at times playing way better.
I think even they had some lead because I wasn't watching the games, but I had kind of a little bit on my separate screen. I had the games kind of showing with the what do you mean, the score bot? Is that what it's called?
Scoreboard, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And it looked like, I think at one point, especially on Nuke, Liquid had a good lead on them. If I Yeah, they had 12-10 lead actually.
you had them pincered.
So I thought that Liquid won this map, and then I came back and oh my god, Vitality made it through. Um, but we have to also point out, I know it's a huge red flag for Vitality, but they also beat
Yeah.
Furia to qualify for this event, Liquid. So there's definitely signs where Liquid are getting better. They're not the same Liquid, even if it's you want to look at that kind of pattern and it's the same Liquid, but it's not.
hmm
Uh, I think they are much better. They obviously seem to have a clearer idea of what they want, but you can't deny the fact that Vitality are not as strong anymore. The way they've started this season, they are not in the best team kind of form anymore.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to grind their way back to it because, yeah, something's off.
Well, when you say something's off, right? I have no problem with them dropping a map to Mongols, even losing the series to Mongols like they did in the semi-finals. Mongols obviously kept getting smashed by them over and over again. Maybe sometimes taking a map, sometimes pushing them to overtime. Like they've got a good history of games this year. And I did love it. I think it was Techno or Senza who said in the interview, like, oh, I'm not going to say we're going to beat them. I've said it before. We're going to beat them this time. It hasn't worked out. So this time he said nothing and he actually beats them. So they get Mirage off them, which I actually think is like, it's such a good map for Mongols. And obviously it was the map they
Yeah.
won at the major, if I'm right. Yes, it
Yes,
was.
that's correct.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. But then Inferno, obviously it used to be the very best map for Vitality, but Mongols have always been able to play it. Well, this is, if you look down this, right? Senzu and 910, if you look down many Mongols games, because I'm turning into such a big fan of Mongols in the sense that they've believed in these five players. They don't make changes. Yeah. They're such a together unit. And even if one player's slacking or not stepping up, they'll look after each other and they have their own way of playing, right? Which is
Yeah.
different to any other team. And what I often see is 9, 10, Mazzino, Techno might have a game, Blitz, Senzu might have a game, but it was always a problem in games against very good teams that either one of Senzu and 9, 10, who are your stars, doesn't deliver, doesn't step up. 9, 10 will have like a struggle. Sometimes I feel like, especially in finals, is where he performs the worst. And this is just, by the way, I'm not looking at stats here. This is just off like moments he's missed in. And I'll come on to that later because we're still talking about Vitality. Um, but it's like that loss here was a worrying sign because Zywu was playing bad at one point. Apex said it was a lot down to his calling again. Mezzi was trying to, like, we had a voice com with Mezzi where he was trying to like get the team back in action and he was trying to add some input on like getting people awake and stuff. But I'm never gonna say Zywu is some fraud, but I will say one of these things is in games like that where you need him to do the mental crazy stuff to pull him back into a game, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you need him to be like, get an ego for that map or that half and just say, give me all the weapons, give me all the whatever, and go farm and go do what you do best. Use all your skill set. But he's not that type of a player, even if he's been better with it. And this was a game where they couldn't find a way to bail themselves out of it. And letting Inferno slip away was rough, was so rough. Like I was almost 100% confident it was going to a third map, even if then they still lost. It's the fact that they lost 2-0, almost lost 2-0 to Liquid as well. It's not alarm bells. They'll come to EWC and they'll still be one of the favorites,
I
even
have a
though probably
question
Spirit
for
is
you
now. Yeah.
on the Saivu topic, right?
Hmm.
So in the beginning of the year, the first event I obviously watched, and like the Cologne one, and I looked at Saivu, and I was almost shocked by some of the moments that I seen him in, because a lot of the times I could see him actually getting caught off guard. Something that I would never, like, I haven't seen in 3 4 years of watching him play Counter Strike.
What do you
He's
mean, comparing for the
always
beginning of
aware.
this year to Cologne? Is that what you're doing?
Yes,
Okay.
essentially. Like
Yeah, but we
throughout his
always talk about
career,
his game
one of
sense
the
being so
biggest
good.
skill sets. Yeah, his biggest skill set is always aware of where people can be. He never
Mhm.
really runs around not being aware where someone could be. He's always clearing things and ready for whoever the lurker is or entering or whatever it is. I've never seen
Yeah.
him get caught off guard as much as I've seen him at the start of this kind of half of year, like after the summer break.
Mhm.
Like it, I don't know what it is, but it's a worrying sign for me because that's something that, is why he's so rock solid and why he's so dangerous to play against is because he is smart. He knows what you're trying to do when you're doing these rounds of Counter Strike. Like he's in tune with almost in your team speak.
Yeah.
Uh,
Reading the
it,
situation, understanding everything that's going
yeah,
on.
but is that something you saw when watching this game that Saivu would get caught off guard?
In some moments, yeah. I think still, I'm not gonna put it all on him. It's just that I want my point is that I want more from him when the chips are down, you know? I want more fire from him to take over to go back and take control of a game or get everyone pumped up into a game to make something happen, you know? My
Yeah.
I guess the question I had for you on this was because you come at it from someone who's been there and seen it all. Yes, they were on top and they dominated all of the beginning of the year. Everyone was hyping them up and expect them to continue that going forward. What happens at this point for a team? Like, can you suffer from success as it be? You know, like I don't think they're unmotivated. I'm never going to say that, but can you feel like maybe things didn't change up too much? Like Apex tried to say he called badly, but I mean, for me, I don't think he called. He maybe may have called the wrong situations, for example. But I mean, it seems like the same calling style, the same patterns as always, playing
Yeah,
off
but
his
I think
in
there's
intuition.
there's multiple layers. Number one, everyone's gunning for you. Everyone is, if they're doing
Yeah.
anything in the off season, they're watching Vitality demos. Everyone is aware of exactly what you want to do, what you're good at, how you kind of trick your opponents. I think even to a certain degrees, how good they were at utility and punishing and what patterns they establish. And through that, I think you'll see a lot of the times, like one of the greatest things you can discover is the actual IGL pattern, where you see something, okay, whenever they take cat, they only really go for two sets of strats. They do this or they do this, or when they get this control, they do this or this. And it gets so ingrained in the opponent's minds, that they'll
So
be
they're
able to
predicting what's
find,
going to happen based on
yeah,
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it becomes much easier for them. The other thing is suffering from success in the terms of, let's just continue doing what we did before the end of the season, because you're not looking at what did we do at the start of the season. Usually what you
No,
end up doing is, okay, how did we end? Okay, we kept winning, so let's keep on going through that route. But it was maybe the start when they brought drops in, they made all that, they made that first think it was Blast Bounty back then as well,
but they
where they
lost.
kind of
Yeah, the
failed to
humble.
qualify to that event, went on, or they
No, they
came
did qualify
last
to
at
the
the LAN
finals.
event.
They just lost to Aurora in the opening game.
Yeah, okay. And I think that became a wake up call for them, and they started to actually do the work, right? And they
Hmm.
worked their asses off, and they really integrated drops, and became successful through that. Now I think it's like they're trucking along in some sort of sense where everyone else is chasing. So they haven't
Yeah,
really caught up to the pace of how hard is everyone else working. And now they got them to the back foot. And I think it's really, it can be a really difficult position to be in, when you know you're supposed to be the best,
yeah.
and that's kind of, it's not happening. So who is to blame? What is to blame? What are we doing wrong? It's always this. But I think the simple solution is just like add a couple of hours and change up a little bit of your patterns, because I think if you stay too much with what was successful, it can be rough. But it's a really weird mix, because you don't want to change too much, but you don't want to, you know stay in the same pattern where everyone knows what you're doing, right? So it's a
Hmm.
really weird balance and fine line to kind of tread for Vitality, especially when they started this half year on the back foot.
Yeah, and Rob's did an interview on HLTV, and he spoke about EWC. And the one thing I'm going to read out here is he said, "That's the next tournament. It's definitely a more important one than this one. If we're speaking realistically, I think that the season is not starting out best for us, but we still want to win tournaments and make the most of it. We're still in good form. They need to show it, and we still have what it takes. It's just 2 tournaments, and it could be a flash in the pan. We could bounce back at ESWC or in the next one, but yeah, we'll review the games, make decisions, make good reactions in terms of the game we lost, and I think we'll bounce back. Obviously, he needs to say that right. The ability to do it is a very short turnaround from where you ended in Blast to this. I think they all came straight. They were on the same flight as me, so they all came from Copenhagen to here. And it's gonna be because obviously there's the club championship stuff, right? It's all part of EWC.
Yeah.
So for a team like Vitality, who've got so many players in fighting games, Rocket League, I think as well. I don't follow League, but I'm sure they've got it in. Vitality's in everything, right? So like they want their CS team to win, and that's what's going to be expected of them. Maybe that's where it brings on an extra hunger because Blast Bounty doesn't have that same oomph in it. If we're just being honest, it's nothing against Blast. It's just about the fact it starts online and it goes into the land finals and it's in a studio environment. It's not the same feeling. Um, but I do think if they're not at least in the final, then I will start to worry. Like I will start to think you need either a boot camp or something in there because they always spoke about it's doing multiple events and having some time off. Yeah, then they had this system they were using all of the beginning
Yeah.
season, but it's like maybe you need now a complete rehashing of things, and that'll be the way you come at it.
But it's also incredible the way we approach a talk about Vitality. We're almost
Mhm.
talking like it's crisis mode, and they've lost the
No, not yet.
semifinal. But you know what I mean. Like that's how
Yeah,
incredible they are as a team, and how high expectations is on them right now because they obviously won every single tournament apart from that Blast Bounty in the beginning of the year, right? So
Blast Bounty is their
um,
curse.
yeah, so it is still
Mm,
only a Blast Bounty.
yeah, I'm not worried for him yet, but I want to see at least the finals for them to come into this. Looking at some of the other teams that were here, VP obviously they picked Spirit. I guess they were kind of aiming. The news will come on to later about Zontix being removed. Maybe they thought that was their best bet in the choices they had with the whole picking your opponent, but it didn't work out well for them at all. Spirit did what they do best. Then and I think the next interesting matchup was Mao's Spirit because I don't know, man, just because of how all their games have gone, I started to feel like this was going to be a banger game again, and Ancient certainly was because Ancient was a crazy into overtime game. Mao's got up 8-4 in the first half, then Spirit flipped over, they were able to get it done. There was even moments where like Donk was not at his best on Ancient, and then he just came alive. Like you just gave him chance to go into it. Like he was just then dominating. So
Ooh, but
zero
this must
problems
hurt.
there.
I didn't actually see
Zwei,
this. A
oh
9-4
yes.
lead
Oh,
with
this was
pistol? Ah,
yeah. And I'm gonna give this right.
yeah,
I said a few episodes ago how Zwei, obviously just as a younger player, how much he grinds him, the way he played on Amiga, he's mechanically so gifted. I'll say this, I love Donk right now because on an interview he did on the broadcast, he spoke about the mechanics that Zwei has. And I hope people are seeing that now because I wasn't just throwing mechanic in as a word like, oh, yeah, that just sounds like a flashy word I'll use. I watched how Zwei plays, and that is an instant upgrade. And like, Magix is definitely great for the team, and they're sad he's gone. And no, Magix is not a bad player, but it's like when Zwei's now going to get some confidence and some comfort, and he's playing like this. I think it was on Mirage. Did he outfrag Donk in the end? Yeah, he was the highest rated player on Mirage.
yeah. I
He was
think for
dominating Mirage.
from my side on that topic, I think I was never worried about his mechanics. I was worried about how he would handle the pressure when playing in these big stage games, because it did not look comfortable in Cologne
But
when he was
I
playing
told you
those.
he's not donk, but he has that donk esque way where he literally says, "I don't care, I just play the game." And now I know some analysts and pundits think like, "Oh, it's cool. They're just saying this, right? Because they want to psych yourself out." But
Yeah,
when I did the first English interview with Zway that I'd ever done, like he maybe done some others before. I mean, the first one I done with him, he came in with like, "I don't care. We can talk. Like, it's fine." And I'm like, "Okay, you're young. You really don't like." He just approached the. He's approaching things the same way. He wants to play the game, he wants to do well. And what I love is that when he's even like they win Cologne, and he was talking to me about how he still knows he can do better. He wants to show himself better, even though you won Cologne. Where some players, honestly, would be like, my team won Cologne. It's great, I'm happy. But he's looking
Yeah.
individually like, no, I know I can do better. I know I can feel better. And just looking at this, also his performance in the finals was pretty good as well. Yeah, he was 1.14 rating, very solid in there, stayed consistent. I did notice something though, because I thought he was going to be a bit better on the T side, but it's actually his CT side where he's having more impact across the series, right? So
Yeah.
across the series, CT side. No, it was his T side. That's right, the other way around. It was his T sides where he had better impact. On his T sides, he's fitting in a lot better. And you see he's often like a follow up. He's often taking some space on a part of the map where the donks maybe not around as well. There's sometimes on Nuke, for example, it was like Chopper running out, and then Zway's there instantly able to trade it and be there to pick up any kills. Even maybe sometimes getting the kill to save Chopper. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. This is just a very positive move. And then obviously
Yeah, I mean,
Spirit go
I
on to win
obviously
it.
only yeah, I only saw the final, but I could see that Sway had a different kind of confidence to him. He took a lot more kind of individual-esque decisions in those chaotic moments, where I think in Cologne he kind of sat back and was a little bit hesitant. Now he actually,
Hmm.
you know, kind of saw the moment and just grabbed it. A couple of entries, he was, especially on Mirage, like on BApp's T side, I think he was great. He was really annoying. Sometimes he would just bring out his AK, walk forward, and just pick someone off and back off, and that
Yep.
suits Spirits really well to kind of have two vocal points, or even three if you count Shiro in there. But
Hmm.
I think you can definitely see his skill, and I think that it does improve the team a lot. I think they do have a stronger kind of firepower, at least on the entry and kind of department, as you were mentioning on the T sides. So yeah, I think Spirit is going to be scary this season, because we have to also remember Svei is not like fully integrated into the team yet. He is not at
No.
the like full capacity and full alignment with every other player. So I think there's more to come from
But
him as well.
while I do think there's more to come from him, I want to also look at and get your opinion on, do you
Yeah.
think as they get further through this, maybe the effects of Magic's not being there might be more of a problem in terms of the mood and just the general feeling? Or do you think that's not something that Spirit should worry about? Because I really felt like Magic's was a glue of that team, and he was a really positive glue, you know? Like, he had this great vibe. They all loved him and respected him so much. He did so much for the team as well. And I just wonder if things start to go bad, they're not winning some events or they're not doing so well. Does that then become a problem that someone like Magix is missing? Or am I reading way too much into the psychology of it all, especially considering this is Spirit we're talking about?
No, I think there's a point to be made there. I think there definitely is a point to be made there, because I think it's hard for us to kind of guess how that's going to establish itself. But I think if they keep winning, there's not going to be an issue. But if things kind of turn sour, maybe they lose against, I don't know, Liquid or someone they don't want to lose to, someone they think they
Yeah.
are a lot better than in a tier one tournament. I think that's when and that kind of happens in multiple cycles of events. Then we can start to see problems, and probably they kind of dig a grave or a hole where they can't really climb their way out of, because
Hmm.
they don't have a positive figure to kind of pick them up, and not let that
Yeah.
negativity kind of root itself into the team. Um, but I mean, that's all speculation. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even.
It's
I
guesswork.
don't know how they actually deal with losses and mishaps. They obviously Donk was not happy. That's all we know. Donk is not happy about losing. That's something that was very relevant during this year. So
But I love that about him.
yeah, but
I wouldn't
yeah, I
change that
think
for the
Spirit
world.
they're looking really good, and I actually do think that
Mhm.
if we would have seen Spirit play Vitality, I think Spirit would have won this event.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still waiting, and I by the way, I love that Donk said we can't be considered the number one team in the world until we beat Vitality. I love that. He wants to go against them in a final, in a best of five. He wants to be put to the test like that and show us
Yep.
stuff. That's the competitor you want. That's the competitor we know he is and he can deliver on. And I'm waiting for that. My dream final is still like I expected it to be the final this event, Vitality Spirit. It wasn't. I'm expecting it to be EWC, but sadly it's a best of three final. I'm not too happy about that. That's a negative on that, but we'll come on to EWC talk later. Let's end with talking about Mongols here because this is like just you watched the final now, right? You had to look back at it.
Yeah,
Nuke,
I watched it today.
nuke, a a chance, right? That they could have won it in there, at least taking it to overtime. But the same problem came up again. Yeah. Senzu, Techno playing well. I need a 910 performance. It's the first map of a grand final. He's 0.64 rating. Just for being clear here, I'm not pointing the blame on 910, but I will start to say there's a theme within this because I remember against Vitality on Inferno, for example, in the major, yeah, he missed a fair few. He didn't play up to his level that I expect him because I hold 910 up to a high regard. I think 910 and
Yeah.
Senzu are fantastic players. But I feel like in the grand final, this can happen too much. On Mirage, where they definitely could have won, 7-5 T side, I'm like, they've actually got it. This isn't going to be a 3-0 final. Goes all the way to overtime, you know? We only see Mizzino be able to really step up. Both Senzu and 910 went missing. And then on Ancient, 910. Well, no one was really stepping up. But again, there was no change up. There was no moments from 910 or Senzu where I'm going to be like, Blitz had a crazy moment, by the way. Blitz, I think it was on Mirage, had the crazy, crazy moment. I just,
I think he
it's,
knifed the guy both on Nuke and Mirage, and then the 1v3
they
at
do love
the to
this.
end the half.
But I'm going to say this. Yes, Mongols is still an incredibly young team, right? Average age is 20.9. I think they're the youngest team in the top 10, top 20, maybe. Yeah. But they've been together a long time now. They're going deeper in tournaments. They've got the experience. It's not stage fright. This is also a studio environment. These are some very capable players. I'm not blaming any of them. I just think if we're noticing this is a problem, maybe they need a psychologist or some extra support staff or something to help them here because when I see 910 at his best, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. One of the best Orbers in the world. When I see Senzu, I think of that major game against G2, you know, when it was like a million overtimes and he's just
Oh yeah.
dominating again and again and again. And I'm like, yeah, that's the rifle I want to see. Sometimes picking up the AWP as well, sometimes doing crazy, absolute crazy things. And then they make it to a final. And I didn't say I didn't predict Mongols to win, but I predict them to put up more of a fight. And I'm just disappointed. And I think something on the psychology side or the mental side can help them because it can't be this many times that Mongols go missing from their key star players. Like it's not like I'm just
I
gonna go
mean,
to the vitality match for the major and go over
I
the
mean,
same
even
point. So
can you look at that game and tell me? I'll actually point out a thing from this final. So one of the biggest
which one?
things
Which
of
final?
Spirits
I'm
versus
looking at the
Mongols.
major. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
look at the
I was looking.
major.
I've
Check
gone to the
the
major.
entry frags on all maps. I'm gonna go through this one because I think they struggle with this, and I think that's why they're losing. Is because they're constantly in a bad position of losing entries where they
Didn't you
have
say
to
this
kind
before?
of
They
claw their way
start a lot of
back.
like 4v5s.
Yeah, like on if you look at Nuke, they lost entries 15 times and won entries 9 times. That's a
But isn't
pretty
that expected
big.
when you play Spirit and you're going up against a Donk, for example?
Yes,
Does that not
sure,
skew
but
the
at the same
numbers?
time at the same time, if you look at like Vitality and what they do against Donk, like they neutralize him, they put nades in his face, they figure out the way that he wants to play the game, and they put resources to
Mhm.
slow him down, or at least when he
Yeah.
gets an entry, he's instantly traded in some capacity, so that he doesn't get to kind of continue the round out and continue his dominance. I think that's like one of the key aspects that maybe are missing. I mean, even on Mirage, 16 entries for Spirit, 13. If you look at the round discrep, like 16 rounds for Spirit, they had 16 entries. 13 rounds for Mongols, they had 13 entries. If you look at
Yeah.
even Ancient, 11 entries for Spirit. I know on Ancient, Spirit or Mongols threw like two 5v3s. They had double
Mhm.
entry and they lost anyways. So I think Ancient just isn't really their map. Um,
Yep.
at least against Spirit. But they lost entries in every single match here. How did it look in the actual major final? Because I wouldn't be
So
surprised to see if that's
you
similar.
you look at the entry stats because I'm looking at the player stats right now. That's fine because I'm on a laptop with one screen, so I'm very
Okay, I
limited
will. I
here.
will. I'll go to the
But
major.
I'm going back to the point I wanted to make is like they won Mirage
Yep.
against Vitality, right? Everyone played well. You expect that the way they won it. Then on Dust 2, Senzu was missing 910 again. 910 had a 0.45 rating, and then he was a 0.55 rating on Inferno. And they definitely would have had a chance on Inferno to fight back a little bit, considering it was, yeah, you went down 9-3 CT side, but Mongols can play Inferno well. And we just obviously recently saw them beat them on it. But it's the you can't have both stars missing, and you can't have 910 playing the orb and being so good, not having this impact the whole time. Was it the same entry problem?
Same entry problem. So we'll take Mirage. They win
Mhm.
13-5 against Vitality. Vitality had 9 entries. Mongols had 9 entries. So they were even on that map. Thus 2. They lost entries 12-5. On Inferno, bit more even, 10-8, but they didn't win entries on any map.
Mhm.
And I think that's a huge issue for Mongols is they get to they they're put in on the back foot a lot of the times. And have to claw their way back and do all these amazing plays, but at some point you kind of have to look at it. Okay, how can we reduce these numbers, and how can we actually get an advantage out of it? Because
Yeah.
if it's a consistent thing, I mean, we could even go back. We can look at some other games as well. Um, so let's take. So just give me a second. So Mongols matches. Okay, we can even take the Vitality game just for fun here
Mhm.
that they won recently. Okay, here they actually won entries on one map. On Inferno, they
Yep.
won 17 entries against 7. But on Mirage, they lost entry department 12-8. They still won 13-7, but that's not really how the score should have been done. But I just think that overall, now we've looked at 8 maps in total, and they've won one
Mhm.
map in terms of entries.
Yeah. It's a
I
problem.
I think
It's a long-term
that's a
problem.
problem. Yeah, and I
And
think that's
also
something
they
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 have to
get
look at.
bailed out by it. They get bailed out by it by being such good teammates and playing off each other so well that sometimes it's often better than most of their opponents they're facing. That
Yeah,
unit they have and that belief they have in each other. And like these guys are taking losses. Like they got beaten up by Valsazi the whole time. I feel like, by the way, both these finals that Spirit had, like Mao's took down Vitality, so happy, and then they get stomped in the final. Mongols have done the same thing here, right? Oh, we finally got down Vitality. You start to get a little bit of swagger in your step, and then you get clapped. It's game over. There's no hope for it, you know? It's kind of these moments now that I see with here. But
yeah,
Blast
it's
Bounty
true.
was Blast Bounty was a good watch when we got to the land finals. It was nice that they had a crowd in Malta as well. Just gives me kind of EPL vibes when they were doing the small crowd there as well. So it's a nice thing. Obviously, it's all like a sponsored thing at the same time as well. Um, but definitely added to the whole environment of it all. And Spirits win is just another legitimate win. I just like Donk, want to see them against Vitality and see what happens there. That's what everyone's waiting for. Any
What
closing
is
thoughts you want
what
to
is
have
the
on the rest of it?
what is no, not really. I think I will say I think Mongols are improving. I think they are getting
Hmm.
better. But I do think that if they want to claim titles and win actual championships, that's a big issue they need to solve. Is just how to figure out how to not lose as many entries and kind of turn that into an advantage, or at least be even with other teams they're playing against. Because I think they would easily been able to win a final if they have even entries because they are so good at clawing rounds back. They just need to sometimes get a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. Well, let's start to look at some of the interesting things in the news. Um,
Yeah.
we never really touched on Simple going to BC Game. Obviously, it was a big surprise. My thoughts on it was just BC Game obviously is a gambling site casino, probably one of the few people that had the money to buy him out. So it's just a win factor, and he didn't have too many other options on where to go. My thoughts on the whole BC Game thing though is that if you've paid all this money for him and you're working with him, I'm assuming that if changes are to happen, he's going to have a big bit of input into it, you know? Give him some time with his team, then he wants some players to come in or go. Like, I guess he's going to, and this is just a guess. I've not spoken to him about it. I don't know anything about it, but I assume he's going to be heavily involved in like the direction this team goes in. But I want you to take a look like at the games he's played and how he's getting on so far. Because obviously, if you look at the team he's got, people will remember Nexa, definitely. Um, Andu Prime Taps, probably not as much. Sassanito, obviously from the Apex days, but it's like this isn't like tier one team players around him, you know? This is like a whole team trying to prove themselves and Simple trying to prove himself.
Yeah.
If we look at the current matches he's had just under BC game, um, he's had a couple of pop off games. He's had some moments where it's like, yeah, that's great. I only saw one of the games. I watched the game against Bet Boom that actually ended up losing, and that was obviously against Boomich. So it's like a bit of an old friend rivalry in there. Um, I'll just say he's not back, but you can see he's trying, and
Yeah.
he's playing more. I didn't like the fact that obviously he went to a concert the day before his first game with them against this Cyber Choke team. They did win, so it's fine. And he even joked about it on his Telegram, like it's all in the conversation. But I just need him now to like lock in, show us the Simple we want to see, give us a better version than we even saw when you played the major with FaZe, and get yourself back to a major with a team like this and prove to the world that you can be that one again. Um, but it's such a long way to go for him now because at least FaZe, right? They were up there and he had a chance of being close to it. But this team
Yeah.
is way, way back. Like this is going to be a long grind for him, and this is also, by the way, going to test his motivation, his mindset, um, everything else. But he's definitely playing a lot more Counter Strike, and I keep saying this: Simple being in Counter Strike playing is a good thing. Like his matches sometimes have more viewers than other big events that were going on. The more
No, for
meaning to him
sure.
because
I mean,
everyone's
everyone
watching him,
wants to see him. Yeah.
even if they hate him,
Everyone
they want to
wants to
see him.
watch him. I think even BC Games, I've seen some promoted posts on like Reddit and Twitter and stuff like that about Simple being on BC Games. So I think they're like really, done the promotional part of it and done some paid promotional posts for him. But either way, like
Hmm.
him being back, I think, obviously he's playing well, but I think there are some cases like you can see where I think they lost to Partizan. Was this the game where he had like a really like a stinker
Yeah,
of a game?
yeah.
Um, because I watched this and I think I've never seen this low of
Oh,
a
you
cast
saw
in
it.
my life. No, I didn't see the game, but I saw the result and I was
Oh, okay.
surprised to see Simple. He had 20% cast. You know what
Oh,
that
when you
is,
said
right?
cast, I thought you, yeah, 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 kill assists.
Kill, assist, survivor, trade or trade.
That's it. There you go.
And that's a stat like 50% is really bad, like really bad.
Yep.
If like being on 60 can even be bad. He had 20% and was like, yeah, that was a shocker for me. So I think that to me, and this is just like a guessing game again and
Yep.
speculation. But I think he then, because he knows he's so freaking good as a player, he
Mhm.
goes on these kind of solo missions and tries to play a lot um, about himself, trying to do as much move, almost a little bit FPL, but still smart, simple-esque style.
Yeah.
Um, so I think once he gets warmed up to that, and he can do that and integrate a little bit more, maybe teamwork and stuff like that, I think he'll be a really dangerous player. And I
Mhm.
think you're gonna see numbers that we're used to seeing in simple, but I think it's not gonna be until probably next year we're gonna see that. Um, because if you put Prime Simple into this team, he would have like 2.5 ratings every single game.
Yeah, he'd just be mega carrying, hard clear, and everything, and have no problems at all reading the game, playing a bit of craziness in there, throwing some rounds
Yeah,
like
and
he always did,
you
right? Because
see
does
glimpses
play
of
like that.
that.
That's
You see
good.
glimpses of it. So I think
Well, we'll
there's
keep an eye on it.
obviously, yeah, obviously, like you say, I
Yeah.
think they need maybe one or two lineup changes to be really competitive.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be completely honest, but
Now, the next one I want to look at here is Rush, the American player. Now, done with competition, and he's been trying to keep going for quite a while. What I'll say is, right, anyone that maybe didn't watch back in the day about this guy is like he has a major to his name, the E League Major 2018, right? Many players dream of getting a major and they still can't get one. Um, he stayed with the North American side of things, trying to make it work. Went from Cloud9, Complexity, EG, Party Astronauts, Nouns, but now he wants to look at coaching and stuff. Just as like something I want to add here is that always on the interviews, this guy was fantastic, very well spoken, always nice to see at events. Turned into, by the way, from when I first met him to now in life, he went into becoming a big
he's a
gym guy.
beast.
So bro, he's huge, man. He's huge and he's in great shape. But he said about coaching, bro, he could be the physical coach as well as the game coach. You get a 2 for 1. If you're an organization right now, you're like, you can get a double whammy with this one. You can have your players training well in the game and out of the game with him. And I'm sure he has a lot to offer. Do you know where I'd love to see him go? Complexity. Him
Yeah,
coaching
why not?
complexity, I'm so down for. Like, if I'm complexity, this is the move you make now. Because the rest of those players on that team, especially the less experienced American players like Nix and Sixy, they're going to respect him. They're going to listen to him. And he, by the way, is not like some ego driven character. He is a well spoken, he is an understood person, he is a smart person of the game. Like, he could sit down and have the conversations that I think would benefit this team so well. Like, that is the instant move I thought when I saw his post. So, just this, for me, it's just like a little shout out and love to Rush because it is a North
Did
American
you
legend
know?
retiring.
Did you know
Oh,
I
you got games
coached him?
against him? Did you? Was this the Optic
Yes,
times?
yes, I did coach him in Optic for a bit.
Okay,
We were
then you
on
can give
boot
me this then.
camp,
How
and
was he?
so obviously, I really enjoyed working with Rush. I think he's
See?
like phenomenal guy, like you mentioned. He's also like super, like he takes critique really well. He's really smart in
Mhm.
the way he discusses things and tries to learn.
Yeah.
And he applies it in a quick manner. It's a good sign and it's a good like kind of eye test for a coach as well when people can kind of
Yep.
take information in and apply it to the game and kind of find a way to make it work for themselves pretty quickly. So he's a super smart guy and he's super nice.
Yeah.
And I cannot speak highly, like more highly of Rush than you did. Like he is incredible person. I think he will suit a coaching role exceptionally well.
He
There's
must
no
have got the
doubt in my
mustache from
mind.
you. You had it first and he decided to take
No,
it from you.
I'm not sure I had it first. I'm not sure.
But yeah, shout out to Rush
But he
one
is
time. If you
rocking
guys
that
don't know about
mustache.
him, yeah, he looks like a beast, man. But yeah, it's always sad to see players retire, but I think he's done it in a really nice way. He tried to keep going, you know? He tried to help
Yeah,
some of the lower teams down in North America and bring them up using his experience. Now he's one of the people that I think where he's saying about going to coaching, I agree with it. Some players, if they told me they were going to go to coaching, I'd be like, man, just stick to streaming. Like you're not a coach. You're not a coach from what I understand. But he
yeah.
would work out well for me. I think it'd be really good.
No, he has
Um,
great input on the game.
but then I was just talking about complexity, right? This has come out on HLTV. Passion UA are in advanced talks of complexity over the signing of 4 players from the North American side: JT, Halzer, Grim, Nix, and Sixy.
This is
I
such a
was
weird. It's such a
I'm
weird
so
thing to just
confused.
pop out because it's
I'm
like,
so confused.
I mean, the one thing we have to mention, obviously, TC is the coach of Passions, or were the coach
Yeah.
of Passion, and I assume that
Yep.
he would be staying in the project.
hmm
Um, so in that sense, it does make sense, and I think,
Oh, I read this wrong by the way. Sixty's the one that's supposed to be replaced by Kvem. Yeah.
yeah,
And I said, by the way, for Kvem, keep passion, keep Kvem. I will just say, no offense to Nix, but like I would just remove Nix and Sixy. But I guess you then lose this North American thing. I guess you need to have them too for the whole VRS thing. Because JT, South
yes,
African, Hulzak, Norwegian, Grim, and Nix from America. And then you have Kvem from Ukraine. So then they could be in North America
yeah,
still. But I feel like if I was going to be going all in on a new project like this, right, I'd remove Nix and have someone else. But maybe there's still some hope from going forward. He's not terrible, but it's just taking a long time for these players to adapt to tier one.
yeah,
But
and
this is
I
a
mean,
wild move, by the way.
not having a
They made
coach
money.
has also kind of hampered them to a big degree because
You-
it was so weird because TC left, right? Or got benched or fired or whatever it was.
Yep.
And then they never really replaced him.
Yeah, they like Adren stood in for the major, and obviously they didn't even have their full team because Junior was in for the major because Halzat couldn't get a visa for America, and then Mifar had a little stint. Yeah, and
Yeah,
like it for me, I wonder if they just don't have the money to pay for a good coach right now.
it could be that. I mean, they have been
But
having this project for quite a long time. And I mean, if we look at kind of the rankings development,
there was a moment from like PGL where like they did better on a it was a PGL Bucharest event and things looked better for them and it
yeah,
was certainly more positive. But then they started to slip back down again and hit the struggle bus. Because at the beginning when Nix and Sixty came in, it was like it was rough. It didn't look good at all.
yeah, they went from
Oh no, I've
like
done it
top
again with the camera.
15 and then have been dropped down to top 30. They went a jump up, obviously in April there when they had a few good events, and then just massive drop downs again.
Yeah.
So they've been on
I'll
kind of
be
a
interested to
spiral
see if this
downwards.
becomes a reality because it says the expected deal is supposed to be completed in the coming days. We're waiting to see if it is. And then what does complexity do from here? Because like complexity obviously is known a household name since the 1.6 days. Everything that Jason Lake has done for North American CS, does he just get another North American roster and try and build that up? Do they exit completely? But Passion, obviously, I said they made a lot of money from selling players to Fnatic. Maybe this is what they want to do with it. Give
Yeah,
themselves a chance of having a team in the major.
yeah, and I think honestly, like adding someone like Fem, they could have a chance at that, and also having a coach. So I think it's probably a positive move from for the team as well, and they probably want to be
And
in a
TC,
situation where they don't want to grind and not have a coach. They feel like they're
yeah,
at a constant disadvantage to every other team. I know how demoralizing that can be for some players. So it's probably something they want as well if they are not looking to add a coach in complexity.
it's a good thing though about Graham of what we said, right? Because
Yeah,
TC obviously believes in him so much that he can go to a full English speaking team and do well with these guys. Where like it's not like you're playing on an international team where some of them don't speak English as their first language. You're gonna have Americans in there and a South African whose English is their first language. And sometimes when they're coming, that's fast. That's a lot of information. Like it doesn't matter if you're even Swedish or Norwegian, it can be hard for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, so Gwen would have to learn mega fast. Like, I'd be getting him on not Duolingo, but like a duo teacher, two teachers, one for the morning, one for the evening.
Well, I'm sure he's learned a little bit to talk to TC, who obviously communicates
Yeah,
in
but that's a
English, I would assume.
that little bit's not what I'm. And he ain't talking as fast as like Grim and Sixty and stuff. And JT, JT's a bit more calm. JT's very mellow with his approach. But I'm excited to see what happens with that. It's an
Yeah.
interesting one. It's kind of a left field one. And then do you know what? We'll end on our news segment with the heroic souled Tanir. Now, bro, this was the left field one. Spirit win Cologne. Yeah. Spirit win Blast Bounty. During Blast Bounty, the news comes out that Tanir will play for Spirit. I thought it was at EWC, but it's after EWC.
Yeah.
So I read that wrong at the beginning. So after EWC, he will join Spirit. The rumors are he's replacing Zontix, right? And it wouldn't make sense to change anyone else on that team. I feel sad for
Nope.
Zontix because obviously he's he's not bad. He's been doing good. He's been a staple. He's funny to talk to because he's always so honest and open with his answers and how he sits with everything. Um, and you saw even at Blast Bounty, right? They let him lift the trophy first. It was a beautiful
Yeah.
moment. Really, really, really well done from the Spirit Boys. Um, but like this is crazy. Heroic right now. I don't know how many times I've said this on the podcast. They are the most winning organization in Counter Strike. I did an article not so long ago about how much money they were making. Yeah. They're making more money than anyone else selling players, from the selling players to Falcons to selling players now to Spirit. Like
Didn't
they're in the
G2 have
big
to buy
win.
Saw as well?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're even selling coaches, which is like no one's is really buying coaches.
Hey, if anyone wants to buy Devilwalk, you have to come to me personally. I'm only taking 50% fee on this. Like, you can't have him unless you go through me because I need him too much. But no, this is, first of all, big move from Spirit. I think as far as I understand it, um, Hallie and the organization make the decisions on all this stuff. The rest of the players don't really have a choice in it. Um, but Tanir is, by the way, what's crazy is Tanir is 23 or 24. Can you confirm that for me? Um,
I will.
but he is a beast.
24.
He is one of my players. 24. I was pretty good with that. I put him at the moment as being like the number two rookie of the year. I just put Molodor a little bit ahead of him. But like giving him a team like Spirit, this is a nice move because you are looking at an upgrade over Zontix, even though he's a bit older.
Yep.
And Tanir's hungry. Tanir's fiery as well. It might take some adjusting for him for how that team would play out in the end. But it looks like Spirit are trying to make some big moves to capitalize on either being ahead, staying ahead, or getting ahead, and whichever way you look at it. And we like Tanir since the Duo Cup.
Yeah, but Tanir, I think, is a fantastic player. I'm actually looking right now. I'm on Skybox just to check
Oh, here we go.
because just to confirm a little bit about the one worry I have for him, which is obviously a
Yep.
little bit of a role thing,
Yep.
because I do not see them having the same roles. So I wonder how that puzzle is gonna kind of pan out for them, and if they're actually gonna drop off a little bit now until everyone has
Hmm.
kind of figured out their new roles. Could you actually give me an example of where Sontix plays on some map? Do you have
Bro,
anything
you'd have
straight on
to.
your mind?
Nope.
All right, I will check both of them.
Yeah, you have to do that because I was gonna say for Tanir, yeah. The crazy thing with this
Yeah.
player is I do feel like he is mature enough when I speak to him and smart enough that I'm actually less worried about him having to change roles and positions, and I feel like he can do this pretty well.
I think he's a super adaptable player. It's not like I don't think he's gonna struggle, and he's also showed that he's like a beast on LAN. I think every time I've seen him play, with heroic, he's always consistent. He's methodical. He has those kind of multifrag potential X factor in him. So in terms of firepower, I think he's straight upgrade. Like there's not even a contest to Sontex, even though I think Sontex is a good player. I just don't think
Hmm.
he's up to the level of what Tanir has showed. Um, but obviously Sontex bit of an anchor. I'm gonna find a good. Let's see here. Big versus heroic.
Tanir did play. So yeah, Tanir played Anchor Ancient. He played Be Short
Even anchor on
Overpass,
dust too.
Ramp on Nuke, Be Short Mirage. It's actually going to fit in quite well for Spirit.
Well, Tanir is kind of in that short role in or rotation role. For example, CT does too, which Sontic
Hmm.
is the B anchor. That's a huge difference. I think on T side is less of an issue, but he's still more of a playmaker in heroic comparatively to what Sontic is.
Okay.
So he's probably gonna get slammed in a little bit in having to hold a little bit of map control, or they're gonna have to shift up something. Maybe he's not. Maybe they'll put like Sway in more of a hard lurking position
Hmm.
on T sides, while Teneri is more on the soft lurk, kind of pokey lurk. We'll see how it
But
actually pans out. But
the,
I worry about the roles a little bit, especially with how good form Spirit is in, to kind of throw that
yeah.
wrench in and have to redo all the systems. My hope is that they're kind of updating him. Okay, we're gonna play a couple of tournaments now. This is what you need to know. Here, have all the documents. Here, have a couple of meetings with our coach. Go through everything.
Hmm.
Watch our practices. Make sure that you're in tune with everything that's going to change for you, so you can kind of slot in a little bit faster. Um, that's what I hope, because I think it's going to be a little bit of a period where they might be on a downward trend before they go straight up.
I do remember though, at least okay, it's only on heroic side, right? But I just remember
Yep.
some Tanir clutch ability was huge. And I don't like off memory, I don't remember some crazy Zontix clutches, but I already remember some Tanir clutches.
Yep.
If I'm just thinking about
No,
individual plays coming in there.
I think at the end of the day, Spirit are massively improving their lineup with both Sway and Tanir joining
Hmm.
up. I think this is probably prompted to how dominant Vitality were, and they're just saying, if Vitality is going to be in that form, even if Donk has the best game of his life, we're not beating them. So we need more on the
Yeah.
server, and they probably don't view Magics and Sontics to be able to get up to those levels. Because I mean, if you would looked at Vitality and you would have put Spirit players with Magics next to, and just
Hmm.
compared player to player, Saivu versus Shiro, who would you pick?
Zyru versus Shira. Zyru.
Yeah, Flames versus Donk.
Donk.
Okay, let's take Rops versus Magics.
Robs.
Messi versus Sontics.
Oh, the Messi of now. Yeah, the Messi of now.
Apex versus Chopper.
No, that's obviously Apex.
So so they win 4 out of 5 in
Yeah,
players,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And I think
When you put it
this is
like
what's
that,
kind
when you
of,
make me choose, it's
yeah.
harder.
So obviously Donk is the only one. He's going to win against anyone, but where are you going to get more out of it? If they are on their
Yeah,
A game and Spirit is on their A game, you will always pick Vitality. Like always.
but Zway and Tanir on their own change that factor.
I think they
Not
can.
straight away. They need to prove themselves. Obviously, like it's still if you just changed that what you just said, I would still pick the same players, and I wouldn't pick Zway or Tanir right now. But there is a
But it would make you
chance that
think a
it
little
can
bit
change
more.
over. Yeah, yeah, it wouldn't be so instant. Like, oh, for example, if you said between Tanir and Mezzi or Tanir and Zway, yeah,
Yeah.
oh, it'd be harder. It would be harder. It would
So
be
I
a
think
lot harder.
that's kind of the prompt for them going into it,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, you can do so much with tactics. You can at one point, even if you run the perfect strat against them, if they have a better player and they win out and get more out of their players than you do, they're
Yep.
eventually gonna win. You know, as simple as that. So in that sense, it makes sense for what Spirit has done. They want to be the best. They want to cement themselves and break all the records that Vitality is doing, and they don't want to be sitting there and just looking at it. They
Just
want to
watching it go
take
down. Oh,
action.
no.
Yeah, they want to take action. So I respect the moves, and I think it's
Mhm.
very very good moves. To be honest.
Well, from our latest news, let's get into the last part of the podcast before we get into Q&A. It's going to be the EWC preview. So there's a few things to think about here with EWC because it is the toughest tournament we have in Counter-Strike. It is 16 team, single elimination. Yeah. First place, 500K. It's got no, like, on HLTV right now, it's got no like club share, but I think that's because obviously so people might look at this on the prize money thing we talked about so much on VRS and the share, right? Um, Esports World Cup is obviously like, I think it's 17 games. Let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24,
Why are you
25 games.
counting like that? Why are you counting it like
I'm
that?
just because I'm counting
Round of
across the
16,
amount of
8,
titles there
then
are.
4, 2, 1.
No, I've said about how many games there are for other games being played, not Counter Strike games in
Oh, okay,
EWC
okay.
in the
I thought
whole
you were
World
counting
Cup, bro.
each game in the
That
tournament.
wouldn't
I was
work
like, what
out
the
ever.
hell?
Wait, that's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20. There's 25 different games, okay? So
Okay.
there's no club shares and stuff. This is straight, all that prize money's to the players, yeah? As what it looks like. But there's a big factor thing in here that a lot of Counter-Strike people won't care about. But like I follow Tekken, for example. I follow Street Fighter. I watch PUBG as well.
Yeah.
Like these organizations like Falcons, Liquid, Vitality, actually VP's even up there in fourth place right now. They have a chance to earn some insane money for the organization by placing well. Because like if you become first place in Counter-Strike, you get 1,000 points. Now, sadly for Liquid with their Counter-Strike team, I don't think they're going to win the event to get them 1,000 points. But Falcons
They have
probably aren't going to win
Vitality
it
first
either.
game as well.
But Vitality could get 1,000 points, yeah, in that, and have a chance to jump highly over Liquid and just over Falcons. But it also depends on how they're doing Street Fighter and Crossfire, as they're the only 3 games left remaining. So there's this whole other factor to it. But if we're talking just Counter Strike, the prize money is all just legit prize money for the teams, which is all important for VRS. Um, the opening games we have here: Vitality Liquid, Tyler Astralis, Navi 3D Max, Gamer Legion Mongols, Mouse VP, G2 Falcons, FaZe Aurora, Spirit Heroic. One game and you're out. One game and you're going home. The great thing is, though, I told a lie. I thought it was best of 3 grand final. It's a best of 5 grand final. So they did last year was a best of 3. Now it's
Yeah.
a best of 5 grand final. That's epic. Oh, that's so good.
One,
That's
two.
actually huge.
So
And there's a third
it's
place decider
over
now.
5 days event, kind of
Yep.
just
We've got a
games
B
all
stream
the
for a
time.
couple of days as well. I saw Dinko earlier. He's commentating with Henry. But no, this event, right, is cutthroat. No second chances, no failure, no wrong moves in there. If we look at both halves of the bracket, Mongol is on the same side of the bracket as Vitality. Mouse is on the same side of the bracket as Spirit. That makes it exciting already for just getting to the semifinals.
Falcons are
Spirit
back.
face Falcons are back and they're facing G2. And unless some things have changed based on what you talked about on the Devil walkthrough, I think G2 can give them at least a challenge on it. But Kioski's going to be, by the way, they'll have a massive Falcons cheering fan group here as well. They always did
Yeah.
for every game. Because I think, what was it? It was it in EWC 2024. Do I have that up anywhere? I don't remember. I remember. I just remember it was crazy when Falcons were there. I forget even which team they had at the time. But I do think it's crazy that Spirit and Heroic are playing each other in the first game, given what we talked about with the players.
Yeah,
Tania could
I
be
was
going to
thinking
Spirit.
about that, and I was like, it's a little bit of
There's not
a.
competitive integrity at all, man. Oh,
So they
that's
just
just
like,
a
we
rough
have to
one
have
from
a
the
good
beginning.
start as EWC. Let's buy out their best player. Make sure he's not motivated
let's
against
just
us.
let's just wreck the rest of the team, knowing that once again they're gonna have to rebuild. Go through that. Liquid, by the way, imagine if Liquid beat Vitality in the opening game.
It
Because
is
by
some
the way, the
spicy
players know how
matchups,
important
actually.
this is.
It is
The
some
players know
super
how
spicy
important this is.
matchups. Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
this is wild.
So obviously,
I actually can't
Vitality
pick a
Liquid.
favorite
Liquid
matchup.
probably should have. I, I think the G2 Falcons one is kind of funny that they get to meet each other. And I could just imagine the pressure of Falcons losing to a G2. Like Falcons, they obviously bought like two superstars from G2.
Yeah. And then G2 still get the win there. Imagine the G2 social media team clowning on Falcons for that one as well. Thanks for the money and the win. And we've also wrecked your chances for this whole like esports World Cup team club points.
Yeah. Uh, no, but there's a lot of good Counter Strike straight away on the get go in this tournament. It's
Yeah,
gonna
we're like
be
even this, right? People may overlook this one, but even the Tyler Astralis, the history there for coming from the Fissure
yeah.
event. That's epic. That's really good. Navi and Mongols could meet once again if they win their opening games. Do you want to go through predictions on this? Because
I think
really, we've
let's
touched
do
on all the
it.
points with teams. Yeah. All right. So Vitality
Let's
Liquid.
do it. Vitality Liquid.
Oh,
I'll still say Vitality. No, wait. It's actually Navi 3D Max on the first. If you go through the
is
matches
it the first
page,
game? Oh, okay. Let me go on the matches and I'll do it your way. Matches. Yeah.
this is
Okay.
the way we've
Navi
always
3D
done it.
Max then. Yeah. Navi 3D Max.
Navi,
Navi. Game Legion Mongols. Mongols.
Mongols,
Vitality Liquid. I think
Vitality.
Liquid will get a map in this one, but Liquid will still win. I think the confidence boost that Liquid would have from what they did last time will help them in some way, but they're still not going to get the win.
Well,
Tyloo
I would actually
Astralis.
argue. I would actually argue the
Oh,
reverse. I think it's
oh,
like Liquid found a lot of good ways to play against Vitality, and that's gonna
yeah,
show on their demos. They're gonna either change up the veto. So
yeah.
I feel like my Vitality has all the control on this, even if they won it, because it was such a
Okay.
tight game. They'll actually be able to look at the previous one and say, okay, these are the gaps. Let's make sure that we stop X, Y, and Z plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also really motivational for them. Like, let's actually crush them this time. We're not supposed to
Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah.
close games against them. So I think it's a good wake up call and probably a good match for Vitality to see where they're at. I think it can be shaky if it comes to, very close game. They'll probably be like, oh shit, it's happening. But I think Vitality is good enough to, especially with their kind of backroom staff, to figure out what has gone wrong and fix it.
I think Liquid will take a map. I'm still going to sit on that, but let's
All
see
right.
when we get
I'll
to it.
say 2-0.
Um, Tyloo Astralis. I'm picking Tyloo.
Ooh, I think this one is the spiciest game.
No, you said G2 Falcons is the spiciest game. Why are you changing your spice levels over
Everything's spicy.
it? You can't handle the spice, man.
This is a different kind of spice. No, I'm going hardcore mode and looking through the veto here.
Oh my, okay, look at you. Tick tock, tick
Ooh,
tock.
I'll say Astralis 2-1 though.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can be different on that. Phase Aurora.
This
Oof.
is also a spicy one. Spice levels everywhere.
Oof. Hey, it is banger matchups. Oh my. Because the Cologne game doesn't count because Antares wasn't there. Like it's not something I can factor into my decision making here. So Antares is back. There's always crazy games against these two.
I think the
Brokey has
advantage they
looked better.
have is they don't have ex Floud kind of screaming at Kerrigan again. So hopefully they learned the lesson.
He won't be motivated. Carrigan will be like, oh, it's a normal game now. Everything's all fine. Oh,
Mm, I'll say Face. I think Face are on the up.
yeah.
I still have hope for them. I think Brokey looked a lot better, so say Face. It's a questionable Face pick, but it's a Face pick
I'm going to
nonetheless.
go Aurora. I don't know the score, but I'm going to go Aurora. Spirit Heroic. Spirit.
Spirit,
Mouse VP.
Mouse. Even
Mouse.
though I
Yeah.
think VP looked better with Perfecto. I think
Bro, every time we think they look better, we get slapped. Every
it's
time they
true.
made it to land finals of Blast, something's going to go
They're
wrong
hard.
now. So,
They're a hard team to put your heart into, like because
they're a hard
they.
team to understand. I don't even know what's going on. Even when I watch a game of them, yeah. Like this is another thing we should do at some point is look into VP and try and see if you can understand what happens. Because
I'm
they're probably
sure
the
I
most
won't be able to.
polarizing team of like one time looking like this and one time looking like this, and then the other time, no idea what's going on.
Well, I can tell you that Mouse has a incredible advantage in the veto.
Dude, by far. By far. Okay.
So
And the last game, G2 Falcons. I gotta go Falcons, man.
yeah, I have to say
It has to
Falcons.
it has to be Falcons.
But at some
But
point, you kind of want
G2 are gonna
G2
give
to
them a
win.
run. Yeah, G2 is gonna give them a run for their money. But I will just say this: major pressure is one thing. EWC pressure, as Falcons are the club championship team from
Yeah.
last year. They won it all. Yeah. There is a factor there. There
And
is
how
going to be
many are left
organization.
on the?
The
Oh, how many are left from that
Liquid.
squad?
Oh, but it's not about who's left from the squad. It's just that club standings thing, right? For the organization
Ah,
as itself, not the Counter Strike team. Liquid, Vitality, and Falcons are all chasing for winning the whole thing.
ah,
Hmm.
I see, I see.
And first place, by the way, gets $7 million.
That's like through all the 25 games, right? Where you pick up
Yeah,
points depending on how
but
good you are doing.
it's for the club. It's for the organization.
Yeah.
And second place 4 million, third place 3 million, fourth place 2.5 million. So like,
Imagine G2 wins EWC, buys back Nico and Monese.
well, they can't win though because that G2 is so far down on them club
Ah, okay.
championship standings.
Dream
G2's
dead.
like,
Dream dead.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, right now the way I'm looking at it, with the games that are left, only Vitality, Liquid, and Falcons have a realistic chance. But I need to look into some of the other games. Like I don't know about Crossfire, for example. I know Street Fighter, but yeah, Crossfire. I need to speak to some of the talent while I'm here and try and understand that as well. Because it all plays into a factor, and the whole of EWC ends on Counter Strike. It ends with us.
Yeah. And who's
Okay,
gonna
so
win
we've
the
done our
event?
predictions for the matches. Yeah, this. So I know we both said Vitality last time, and I'm expecting Vitality to be in the final, even if they face Mongols in the semis. It might be hard for them, but I'm expecting this to be the one where Vitality bounce back. Everyone's there. Jack, the performance coach, Matthew, the manager. I saw everyone there today in the airport. This is, and I said they have to make the grand final. And I think Spirit will make the grand final on the other side. I'm just really excited if Falcons can beat Mouse and we get a Falcons versus Spirit, that's going to be intense. Kioski versus Donk.
I'm just looking at
I
this.
so want it.
I'm just looking at it. I'm seeing okay, it's like it's 4 days. ago,
Hmm.
since we kind of called out the red flags or whatever you want to call it.
I said if they didn't make grand
This,
final, I'd give them the red flag. Yeah, to be clear.
yeah, yeah, but like it's been 4 days. How much have they changed? How
Hmm.
much better are they
Hey,
in these four
remember
days?
Apex's memory. Wait, I don't know why I'm trying to convince you. I'm just going to say Apex's memory. Apex fueled by his own disappointment in himself, like he said on
Give
the
some
loser
spice. I'll
interview.
say Spirit to win it.
Okay, you're going with a Spirit are the favorites, by the way. Spirit come into this event as favorites. I don't give a damn about it, what anyone else says about that. I just think like Vitality will. This is the bounce back. I'm expecting those two to be in the grand final, but there's so many matchups I want to happen, and there's just so much more oomph here because of the single eliminations. Like the best for competition is a double elimination bracket, but because of the
Yeah.
timing, because of how stacked the CS tournaments are, this single elimination is just a lot of fun, and it will deliver some great Counter Strike. That's for
Oh, for
sure.
sure. It's gonna be
That
super
we know.
exciting. I think everyone wants Vitality and Spirit in the final. We want to see who actually is the best team in the world
We need
right
to
now.
finally see it. Yeah. So we've done who we think's going to be in a final. Let's just
Yeah.
have a little look further down that then, right? Who do you think can be in like the semi-final category alongside them? Mouse would be an obvious one for the lower side of the bracket, but for the top side of the bracket, you've got Mongols there, you've got Navi there. Maybe no, Astras won't be Vitality. For me, it's between Navi and Mongols.
Yeah, and I'll say Mongols.
Mongols. But I feel like Mongols definitely favorites in a um, quarters matchup to go into semis. But I'm hoping now Navi had an extra time being eliminated, not going to LAN. And remember, Navi's the EWC champions from last year, where they beat G2 in the final.
Ah.
Back when it was a best of three. Yeah. But I feel like Mongols are the favorites. I can just see Navi challenging them and having a chance to go through. If they learn their mistakes on Inferno in case that map comes in.
But how would you
The
see?
Makazi
Okay,
Inferno mistakes.
even on the lower side of the bracket, I'm looking at a
Hmm.
game and I'm looking at Falcons versus Mouse. Because if you do
Yes.
remember,
Oh.
before that Kiyosuke and Magisk swap, Falcons
Hmm.
had Mouse numbers constantly.
Hmm.
They were winning pretty much every meetup they had at the end.
It all comes to what you said, though, right? They gave so much to Kioski, all the space, all the positions, how it's affected the rest of the players on the team. Now
Yeah.
they've had a lot of time, bro. When was the last game they played?
Oof.
Cologne, right?
Must be.
I think Nico was away somewhere with his girlfriend from what I saw on Instagram stories. So yeah, the last game they played was the 28th of last month.
Yeah, they had a full month.
Yeah, it's well, they had a bit of time off because like I said, I saw that Nico was away. But there's gonna be a lot of time to fix these things and get things together and work it all out. Nico's been streaming as well. Monasy was streaming a bit.
And I think it would be completely unacceptable for Falcons as an org. This is kind of like almost their own tournament to some degree. I don't know exactly how involved, but
I don't
they're definitely one of
no, I
the
don't
headline teams for it. Maybe
yeah.
they're not the owners of it, but
It's
they
definitely not.
definitely have that connection with the organizers to some extent. Um, but yeah, super important tournament for them as an organization coming into EWC. And yeah, I think a lot of weight is put on this tournament from everyone, and they probably looked at this year, and this is the tournament that they need to actually perform at. So I'm expecting the best Falcons there could be. So I hope they've fixed all of their issues, fixed kind of the to some degree. I hope that Nico can be more involved in the team, and some other people gets a little bit pushed back because I think they're
Yeah.
gonna need it.
Yeah, massively. Massively, massively.
All
I think
right.
this is where they have to show themselves in a big way. And I'm just excited to see if the changes have come through. All right,
Maybe we can even
I am
do a
flagging
comparison
hardcore.
of
Oh yeah, what changes you see?
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, we'll look at
be
that.
an
We'll look at that
interesting one.
afterwards. All right, so we're on to the final segment of episode 22. It's Q&A time as always. Remember, guys, if you're hearing this and you're like, well, how do I ask a question? You can head to www.allaboutcs.gg/Discord. There's a Q&A channel in there, and we answer your questions every time. Is this one question from Skorga, by the way? Skorga sends a question every episode without fail. He doesn't miss.
You can
This
take
guy
this
doesn't
question,
miss.
Banks.
But bro, is it one question? It's in it's 4 paragraphs of Skorga. I love your questions, but this is 4 paragraphs of questions.
It's half
Okay.
our preparation document.
We know preparation is key, especially when you're likely opponents. Oh, when you know. Oh, sorry. See, look at this. I'm so tired, bro.
I can
I've
do
been
it. I
awake
can do it.
for 25 hours. We know preparation is key, especially when you know your likely opponents a good few days in advance, and then your likely second, third match if you win. Will a tournament with randomly drawn matches at each stage, e.g., like the FA Cup in England, bring an additional variety/excitement to CS? Ooh, I kind of like that. Do I continue with the rest of the question? Because he ended it with a question
No,
mark.
we can take this part first.
Okay, take this part. So I guess some, like for example, the major, right, is almost randomly drawn because you can kind of guess who you're gonna get, but it's not always guaranteed because one result changes and you get a different opponent. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know the first opponent, but you'd have no idea about what's going to happen on the second, third ones, for example. And then everyone's like having to work really hard. I feel like we're at a stage in tier one Counter Strike where some teams have analyst, assistant coach, and a coach. So 3 people. That even the preparation, like I remember times where Navi's playing one game and Flashy's preparing for the next game. Yeah. Um,
I
there's
mean,
a
I
lot of
think
times. Go on.
I think yeah, I think it can be kind of like it could be fun in terms of a tournament like Blast Bounty, where everyone just sits ready to play for the day and just randomly get thrown into a game against your opponent. But in
Hmm.
terms of wanting to have like the best quality Counter Strike, and
Yeah.
for also the players to feel like they deserve the win and the other team is better, etc. Because I think everyone has different styles, and I think everyone you know prepares in different ways, and there's there's going to be teams that are really good at the kind of pugging and kind of just adapting on the style, but some teams are really
Hmm.
like they want to have prep and they need to have prep to be good. And I think to be able to kind of get both in a line, I think we need to have a few days of prep work into it to make it kind of fair and exciting.
Yeah. And I think with the preparation is key, like you said, right? And that's also
Yeah.
what makes it good when we see that level of preparation. Um, Okay, the next question basically is right now, pretty much every tournament with an elimination format uses the same VRS seeding for obvious reasons. With a random drawn each round, easy routes can of course happen, but there will be much more tighter matches at every stage of the draw, which increases viewership for. By the way, you're highlighting stuff, which makes it harder for me to read. I can see you highlighting the text as I'm reading it.
Oh,
Stop clicking around. Like this boy's got problems. He Devil's just on our document highlighting the text I'm reading as I'm trying to read it while I'm 25 hours deep into my life.
I'm
um,
sorry.
um, Thank you very much. Yeah, just colors flicking everywhere, which increases
I'm down
viewership
here
for
now.
sponsors in earlier rounds, along with excitement, viewership of the draw itself, and higher probability of upsets for best of 3 matches. If a team performs badly consistently at this type of event, it raises the brand of the coach, which is not something that happens very often. When they very well, when they perform well in more traditional tournaments, middle ranked teams also benefit, as it means they are not always put up against other middle ranked teams if the format is 1 versus 16, or the top team if the format is 1 versus 9, meaning the higher chances of dream runs and movement in the VRS, which I feel the system needs substantial move. Stop it. God damn it.
Oh,
But I feel the system needs substantial movement over 6 month period. The only losers are the top teams who could go out first round to another top team. But even then, they would lose very little VRS points from the match itself. Only potential prize pool money from a first round exit compared to a quarterfinal exit, for example. I feel I am missing something glaringly obvious as to why this is a bad idea, but the viewers slash viewership throughout the tournament, which tied to money generated considerably. I'm sure you have also covered Yalla esports this episode. Oh no, we haven't done that. Um, I really am not able to think of any.
Why this
Skorga,
is a
by the way,
bad
he's
idea?
quite a big brain. He's got a big brain on all of this stuff. Um,
Well,
it's
which
bad for
bits do you
viewership
want
for
to
what he was
take of
talking
them?
about. Well, but it's bad for viewership because when you don't have like the best teams making it far, right, who have the biggest pull and the star names, there are
Yeah.
less people watching. We saw that, for example, the Blast TV Paris major, right?
And I think one of the key things is
Where,
also you want to fill an arena, you want, the mood and
yeah,
kind of the ending of the event to be great, because that's what everyone remembers. They don't really remember the
I'll give
group
you an example. You
stages
said about
or
tournament and you said about tournaments in an arena.
that's too.
I'm. Oh, did it zoom again? Oh, I gotta stop with these fingers. I'm gonna have to learn how to control this better. It's getting
Oh,
late.
that got me.
So you said about the arenas, right? It's
Yeah.
a big factor where I speak to a lot of fans I meet in the arena, right? People I see, there are some lovely, amazing people in our community who come to almost every event they can pay themselves to go to. There are some faces I literally see every single European event without fail, and they're legends. But there's also a huge amount of fans who will buy a ticket with the hopes to see a team. Their team gets eliminated, and then they try to sell their ticket or they don't want to come. Some people just come to see their favorite team, right? For example, there's maybe a group of Vitality fans. I'm not talking about the Golden Hornets because they're their own thing, but like group of Vitality fans. The Vitality didn't make it to an arena, and they're like, "Well, I'm not going to come to watch the rest of Counter Strike." When you pay for like football, you pay to see Man United versus Arsenal. Yeah, you're not going to pay
Yep.
maybe to see Man United versus Bromley. Yeah. Like it's not the same thing. It's not the same draw. You might just want to see Man United. You don't turn
Yep.
up to a football game and then you get a given a different team. But in Counter Strike, you can get that. So we have a lot of hardcore fans who are just there for the games and just there to enjoy it all. But there are still that potential where you need to almost not need to make it so they can get to the arena because they can still mess things up. We saw Spirit Cologne not this year but last year lose out in the group stage. But
Yeah, but
it needs to give them all the best opportunity and the fairest way for competitive side to make it exhilarating and what they've worked for, right? When you're a team on your way up, like Mongols, they were constantly in the worst seeded position, having rough games in the toughest groups, and now they broke through. Hard work pays
yeah,
off.
exactly. But I also think these dream runs wouldn't really be dream runs if they have an
Yes,
easier way through the
we
bracket.
love an
Just
underdog
be-
story.
just because they are magically appear in the final doesn't necessarily mean that they've done a great event. I mean, we've had multiple kind of RMRs and stuff where we've kind of almost criticized a team going 3-0 because they haven't really showed us anything. They've had an easy path. They've not, not had a test in reality. And I think
Yep.
at the same time, it's also something that players don't like. They want to have a fair
Hmm.
tournament. Obviously, if you're stuck in the in the last spot of rankings and always get vitality first, I understand how frustrating that can be. But
Yep.
that's competition. That's the life of competition. And I think every player and every team wants the best teams to go the furthest. And I think all the
Yeah.
organizers, all the fans want the same. So
Definitely.
I think that it can be a fun event. I think that is like a key thing. It can definitely be one of these one-off events a year where you just here's your draw and someone says fuck I got vitality and
Yeah.
someone's really happy about their draw, and you kind of see live reactions of teams in a sense in that way, but I don't think it works from a competitive standpoint because I think even if you would win that event, people would downplay that event and not rate it as highly as others.
Paris Major. Like, look at this, right? Paris Major Game Legion comes second to Vitality. Yeah. And
Yep.
after that, Game Legion have never come close to the same things throughout their different rosters. They've made some playoffs every now and again, but it was a dream run once in a thing, you know? We've seen this happen many times. Dream runs do happen, but it makes a beautiful underdog story. It's something we can hype up and cheer around, but it isn't what is going to bring in the best viewership. It's not the one that's going to bring in the best gameplay. These things happen as an anomaly every now and again.
Yep.
So hopefully we've answered this question. One thing we can touch on, I don't know how much you know about it, but the Yalla thing, just because
I
Skorga
read a
mentioned
little
it. So
bit
we'll
about it.
so I don't know how do I bring, because Mirror, by the way, Mirror, for people who don't realize, I don't know how much people pay attention to like journalists in the scene, right? But I'll say
Mirror
this:
is top.
Mirror has been around forever, and he is one of the very best, like without fail. This guy, he knows a lot of the, especially old school players for a long time. I don't even know how old Mirror is. Does his profile say how old he is? I know he's got a wife and kids. He's on around like similar to our age. No, it hides their ages on. Ah, look at this. HLTV staff ages aren't out there, but he's an old guard like us. See, look at this. He's Lewis Mirror is HLTV's lead reporter. He's discovered his passion for journalism when he began reporting on Counter Strike in 2006. And I think I met him in like 2008. So I've known him forever. He's top at what he
Yeah, I'm
does. He's very good
yeah,
with all this stuff.
I'm pretty sure I met him like one of the first events I attended.
Mhm. So a
So yeah.
phenomenal journalist, also does some of this investigative journalism stuff as well. And he said over 1 million in debt, cancelled events, liquidation, how Yalla esports collapse. So I worked one of the Yalla events and it was great in Abu Dhabi. It was obviously not as many people in the crowd. It was a bit messy on the production, but it was them starting out. Um, but their event went from, it was one that was going to happen, I think, in Qatar, and then it ended up turning into an online event. And I
Yeah.
think that obviously probably benefited them in staying around for a long time. The sad thing about this bankruptcy is that, like, from what's been put here, is that they still owe money out there, and this will be probably a lot of people that won't get the money back either.
Yeah, and a lot of like staff members and stuff kind of working months without pay, being promised pay once the sponsorship deals come through, but it
Yeah,
was all kind of just empty words and obviously put a lot of people in a very difficult situation if you can't really pay your rent in time and stuff like that. Um yeah, and it all kind of pointed towards one of the what's this Klaus
they even had a they even
Kajetski.
had a they even had a legal battle with one of their people. This is how much information he found out.
Yeah.
This places his claim at a minimum of 272,000 to an ex-staff member. So like it's really rough. And I know one of the guys, one of the Finnish guys, he actually moved over to the UAE for this project and to work on it all as well.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's really
It's
bad.
a lot. It's a lot of bad stuff. I mean, multiple. There's tons of casters, who still owed money. Like, there's so much people affected by this in a negative way.
Hmm.
Um, they're obviously counting on having an income, and things don't pan out. They don't get paid, and yeah, sad stuff.
Mongols wasn't paid for their win either.
No, there's
Wow.
so much. And I think there was even like a sponsorship deal they brought in for that tournament, which they didn't
Hmm.
like fulfill the, or was it the planned event that they actually had to send back the money that the sponsor sent them? It was like $200,000 or something. I read in that. It's a huge article. There's a lot of detail into it, and
Yeah.
I, I don't
It's just
think
very
I think
messy and
you'd
very sad.
like if we would actually talk about this stuff in depth, um, it will probably be an entire episode in itself.
Yeah. We definitely have to get a bit more updated on it all, but it's rough.
Yeah, but obviously super sad that we get these kind of people
And
in
it still happens
esports.
in esports, mate. It's been happening since the early days. There'll always be people that come in and bite off more than they can chew, that'll come in and make a mess of things. They'll owe a lot of money. Will It happens to players, it happens to talent, it happens to organizations, happens to normal people who just want a chance to do something. It's really messy. It's really sad. And that's some of the reality of the other side of esports as well. I keep talking about this, but there are events, there are even some of the biggest organizations that can't have as bigger events as they had before. Like, look at this, by the way. The EWC talent list is bigger than the Cologne talent list that we
Yeah.
had. That's a crazy thing to have on the other side of it all. That's my blood sugar monitor for my diabetes going off again. My old ass needs food. Um,
But yeah, I think
but
that's it for our episode, isn't
yes, on
it?
that note, on that beep, it can go.
On that beep,
Next episode,
Banks needs a
on the next
snack.
episode,
We need to end it.
GG for Banks before he collapses. I have been awake for 25 and a half hours. So yeah, it is that time. I also had a vaccination and my arm is still warm and itchy. It's so annoying. I hate vaccinations.
What did you
Never
vaccinate
fun.
for?
I kept getting like what do you call it? I forget the name. Like bronchitis. But
Is
I
that the
never infected
coughing?
my wife, for example. Yeah, just coughing,
Yeah.
stuff on your lungs and stuff. And so basically, because I'm diabetic, right, I have a weaker immune system. So they gave me a vaccination for it as well now. So hopefully I'll be clear and won't stop getting all that illness.
Oh,
Good thing is I
nice.
never spread it to anyone else. Like my wife never got it, my son never got it. So hopefully I'll be just good now and fighting it. But I don't like vaccinations. Again, someone else doing the injection, no. Do it myself, no problem. I'd much rather that.
I don't prefer
Next
either of
episode,
them.
just avoid all of them. Next episode, we'll do at the end of the Esports World Cup, going into Blast Open London, because the events don't stop. They keep on rocking and rolling. We're going to be very busy with all these episodes. And a new guest episode will probably be done when I'm back home after Blast London. I'll aim to have that done. Get us someone else special on. I've got a couple of
Yep.
ideas that I run past Devilwalk after we finish recording this. We'll make some magic happen for you all. I know people who enjoyed that. The Apex one was absolute fire. I will try and bring in someone from the other side of the world. That's my goal. That's the next one.
Ooh.
Aha. Spiciness thrown your way. You can start thinking of who it may
Spice.
be. That is the key word of this episode, spice. And I like some
Yep.
spicy food. You can get a lot of spicy food here in Saudi Arabia. And that's what I'll probably go and do now. And that's the end of episode 22 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it as always. Thank you for watching, listening, viewing from around the world, wherever you may be. The loyal viewers who send in the questions like Skorga, the people who are just hanging out in the Discord asking other questions during the shows and what we're doing. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the love. Make sure you subscribe. We're doing TikTok. We're doing our Instagram reels. You can find us everywhere if
Yep.
you want to catch up on shorter content to be thrown at you throughout it all. Bit of a shorter episode from us, actually. So enjoy that
You
at the
should
same
end it
time.
on this.
Yeah, we're going to go out with a bang.